Hello everyone, welcome to Plutus IAS. So today on 13th of November 2020, we are going to look into the National Daily Analysis and UPSC topic analysis. And today we are going to understand some important topics from UPSC prelims examination perspective and from UPSC mains examination perspective. So the topics that we are going to understand for the day are new rules under the Foreign Contribution Regulations Act 2010. Okay, so we will understand the concept of the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, and we will see what are the new rules under the FCRA Act of 2020. Basically, FCRA Act is under the purview of the Ministry of Home Affairs. So we will look into this particular thing. So this topic is relevant with the internal security perspective. Okay, it is more related to internal security perspective. It is important for general studies paper 3 of UPSC mains exam. Okay, then we will look into the next topic, which is financial support to public-private partnerships in infrastructure. So Government of India has initiated a new scheme under which Government of India will provide financial support to public-private partnerships in infrastructure sector. So in this article, we will understand, right, what are the different categories of infrastructure sector that will be covered under the financial support from the government. Okay, so this is a topic that is important from Indian economy perspective. It is a topic that is important for Indian economy perspective. It is again an important topic from general studies paper 3 of mains exam. Okay, and some of the concepts from this topic are important for the prelims perspective also. Then we will look into the next topic, which is India and Maldives Memorandum of Understanding. Okay, so recently a few memorandum of understandings have been signed between India and Maldives. So in this respect, we will understand what is the location of Maldives, what are the kind of relationships that India shares with Maldives, and why Maldives is important neighbor for India. Okay, we will understand these things in this particular topic. This topic is very important from international relations perspective. It is an important topic from general studies paper 2 of UPSC mains exam. Okay, then we will look into the next topic, which is over the top platforms. Okay, over the top platforms, like these are the over the top platforms, basically these are digital services that are being provided by some of the, like, new and recent companies like Netflix, Amazon. They are providing some kind of video streaming services that were not earlier properly regulated by the government. So we will see what are the, like, new initiatives of the government to regulate these platforms over the top platforms. This is a topic that can be that can be interlinked with various papers. Okay, so it is important from general studies paper 2 perspective, it is important from general studies paper 3 perspective, and you may get some case studies based on it. Okay, so may be helpful for the general studies paper 4 as well. Okay, so when we talk about security, digital security, cyber security related issues, so they are relevant for GS paper 3. When we talk about some kind of services, digital services or government regulation, so when it comes to regulation by the government, so this comes under general studies paper 2. Then we will understand the next topic, which is data center policy. Okay, we will understand, so what are data centers. We will understand the different types of definitions that are given by the government related to data centers, and we will see what the new policy talks about. So this is something which is relevant for with cyber security and all, and digital infrastructure in India. Okay, so this is mainly important for the general studies paper 3 of mains exam. Okay, so we are going to talk about these topics, and in-depth understanding of these topics are very important for you to answer questions that are asked in prelims as well. Okay, so let us move to the topics that we are going to understand today, which is new rules under Foreign Contribution Regulation Act of 2010. Okay, so we will see the context in which it was in news. What happened recently? The Ministry of Home Affairs has notified new rules under the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2010. Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, in short, is also known as FCRA Act. Okay, so we will see some key points related to this. We will see what are the background. So Foreign Contribution Regulation Act first enacted It was first enacted in 1976 and was once amended in the year of 2010. Okay, earlier it was first enacted FCRA in 1976, then it was amended in the year of 2010 to regulate the foreign contributions or donations and hospitality. Okay, hospitality related to air travel, hotel accommodation, etc., to Indian organizations and individuals, to stop such contributions which might damage the national interest. Okay, why do we have Foreign Contribution Regulation Act? Because some of the some of the organizations in India, some individuals in India, they're getting some foreign contribution for the purposes that they are working in India. Okay, some of these purposes may be very helpful for development of Indian society and Indian economy as such. Okay, so many NGOs are there that are providing health care services, okay, to rural masses. Some of the NGOs are providing educational services. Some of the NGOs are providing food and shelter related services. So the thing is, it is very important that they should be enabled by the government, and at the same time the national interest of the government should not, national interest of India should not be hampered. So that's why Foreign Contribution Regulation Act was enacted in 1976. They have amended it to modify according to the demands of the time. Why? So that they could regulate the foreign contributions and donations. Okay, foreign contributions or donations and hospitality in air travel, hotel accommodation, etc. Okay, so we will see some more important details related to this. It had been recently amended again in the year of 2020 to enhance transparency and accountability in the receipt and utilization of the foreign contribution and facilitating the genuine non-governmental organizations or association who are working for the welfare of the society. Okay, so what the government is trying to do, it is trying to facilitate, okay, those organizations or associations that are genuinely working towards the welfare of the society. Okay, and at the same time it wants to enhance the transparency and accountability so that like we can have proper control over those organizations that may hamper the national interest of India. Okay, the act is applicable to all associations, groups, and non-governmental organizations who intend to receive foreign donations. Okay, this particular act, which is Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2010, it is applicable to all associations, groups, and non-governmental organizations who intend to receive foreign donations. Okay, so as per the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, members of legislatures, political parties, government officials, judges, and media persons are prohibited from receiving any foreign contribution. Okay, so this is a very important topic, that members of legislatures, like if we talk about MLAs, member of state legislative assemblies, then MPs, member of parliaments, so they are prohibited from receiving any foreign contribution. Okay, political parties are also prohibited from receiving. Government officials like IAS officers and other officials, okay, they are prohibited. Judges, media persons, they are prohibited from receiving any foreign contribution. Okay, then the Ministry of Home Affairs has notified new rules under the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2010, thereby amending the FCRA rules 2011. Okay, so they had amended the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act in the year of 2010. Then they have like notified some rules under the FCRA Act in 2011. So those rules have recently been modified. Okay, recently been, like government has given new rules under that. So we will understand what are the new rules under the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. So the norms for farmers, okay, norms for farmers, students, religious and other groups who are not directly aligned to any political party to receive foreign funds if groups are not involved in active politics has been relaxed. Okay, so the thing is, for farmers, students, religious and other groups who are not directly aligned to any political party, okay, if they intend to receive some foreign funds, so the thing is, government has relaxed some of the earlier provisions in this regard. Okay, so now new norms are little bit more comprehensive for them to be able to receive some kind of foreign contributions or donations. Okay, then the FCRA registrations have been made more stringent now. To register an organization or association for the purpose of receiving foreign contribution has been made little more stringent, means like it has been made more difficult now. Okay, so any organization that wants to register itself under the FCRA shall be in existence for 3 years. This is a very important term. So they should be in existence for 3 years, and they should have spent at least an amount of 15 lakh rupees on its core activities for the benefit of the society during the last 3 financial years. Okay, so those organizations that intend themselves to be registered under the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act with the Ministry of Home Affairs, it has been made mandatory for those organizations that these organizations should be in existence legally for last 3 years, and they should have at least spent 15 lakh rupees in their core activities for the benefit of the society in the last 3 financial years. Okay, so this is a mandate, okay, under the new FCRA rules. However, the central government, in exceptional cases or in cases where a person is controlled by the central government or a state government, may waive the conditions. Okay, so this is not applicable for everyone. Okay, so the thing is, government may like waive off these conditions for certain group of individuals, like who may be controlled by the central government or state government, or in certain exceptional cases government may relax these norms for some individuals or associations. Okay, so that relaxation category is also there. Apart from this, the office bearers of NGOs or organizations who are seeking registration under the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act are required to submit a specific commitment letter from the donor indicating the amount of foreign contribution and the purpose for which it was being given. Okay, now it was also made very important. Okay, it is an important thing that a person who is donating to these NGOs, okay, so those people, okay, those people, just a minute. Okay, a person who is donating to these NGOs, so it has been made specific that these donors should indicate the amount that they are donating, and they should also indicate the purpose for which the donation is being provided. Okay, this is another clause. Now if we talk about political groups, okay, so with reference to political groups, new clause has been inserted which says that the groups mentioned in clause 5 and 6, okay, clause 5 and 6 of the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2010 will only be considered a political group by the center if they participate in active politics or party politics. Okay, so under clause 5 and 6, those organizations, okay, or those associations that actively participate in politics or party politics, they will be considered as political group. Otherwise they will not be deemed as political group. Okay, so earlier the rules on the said clause dealt with guidelines for the declaration of the organization to be a political nature, not being a political party, and the central government could specify the organization that the political nature based on 6 criteria. Okay, so the thing is, how do we decide like which party is a political party, which organization, you know, is involved in active politics? So government of India has decided 6 criteria for that purpose. Government of India has decided 6 criteria to decide whether a organization or an association can be declared as a political party. Okay, so when we talk about clause 5 of rule 3 of the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act rules 2011, okay, so under that particular rules, okay, like clause 5 of rule 3, okay, qualified a political group as organizations of farmers, workers, students, youth based on caste, community, religion, language or otherwise, which is not directly aligned to any political party, but whose objective, as stated in the memorandum of association, or activities gathered through other material evidence, steps towards advancement of political interest of such groups. Okay, so the thing is, earlier what was the thing, earlier what they have done under the FCRA rules 2011, okay, a political group, okay, political group like one, okay, qualified a political group as an organizations. Okay, so they qualified political group as organizations of farmers, workers, students, like who are not directly involved in active party politics or politics themselves, but like their activities may promote the interest of a particular political party. Now, if we talk about the other clause, other 2011 clause means like the FCRA rules 2011. Under this particular rule, the clause 6 qualified a group as political. Okay, it qualified a group as political if the organization, by whatever name, okay, they may have any name, habitually engages itself or in or employs common methods of political action like rasta roko, jail bharo, rail roko, band hartal in support of public causes. Okay, so the thing is, this particular clause qualified a group as political group. Okay, they qualified a group as a political party or political group if they are involved in these categories. Okay, so the thing is, when it comes to deciding whether a group is a political group or not, we already have some provisions under the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act rules 2011, where they decided that some political groups may be considered as other kind of associations of farmers, workers, students, youth based on caste, community, religion, language, otherwise. Okay, if they are not directly involved in political parties. And in the second clause, they decided that like there may be some groups that are not, they themselves not declared that like we are a political party, but the thing is, whatever activities that they are doing, those activities may be considered as of political nature. Okay, so they, those groups or those association will be deemed as political parties by the government. Okay, if you want to learn more on this thing, you can follow this reference link from the Hindu. Okay, having understood this, let us now understand the next topic, which is financial support to public-private partnerships in infrastructure. Okay, we will understand what kind of financial support the government is giving to public-private partnerships in infrastructure projects. Okay, so why it was in news? Because recently the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has approved continuation and revamping of the viability gap funding scheme under the public-private partnership model till 2024 to 25 with a total outlay of 8,100 crore. Okay, so the thing is, Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs have approved continuation, okay, and revamping means like, revamping means we are moving that particular thing now with more vigor, okay, with more energy, okay, of the viability gap funding scheme, okay, till the year of 2024 to 2025 under public private partnership. So in this respect, we will understand what do we mean by viability gap funding, what do we mean by public private partnership, and we will understand like in which sector the viability gap funding has been extended. Okay, so viability gap funding means grant of one time or deferred, okay, means grant one time or deferred provided to support infrastructure projects that are economically justified but fall short of financial viability. Okay, viability gap funding simply means those public private partnership projects that are economically justified, like these projects may need these much money for it as an investment to make that particular project work, but like they may not be having sufficient amount to run that particular project to go ahead with the investment. So in that case, the government of India will provide financial support, okay, in those projects. That is known as viability gap funding. It is a kind of grant that is given by the government one time, on a one time basis. It may be given by the central government, it may be given by the state governments. Okay, then we will understand about public private partnership. So public private partnership involve collaboration between a government agency and a private sector company. Okay, so public private partnership involve collaboration between a government agency and a private sector company that can be used to finance, build and operate projects such as public transportation networks, parks, convention centers, etc. Then the viability gap funding provided for economic infrastructure will be extended to the social infrastructure as well. This is as per the recent approval by the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. What they are doing, they are revamping. For revamping purpose, they have extended the viability gap funding not only to economic infrastructure but also to social infrastructure. Earlier economic infrastructure were considered, but now they have extended that viability gap funding to social infrastructure creation also. Okay, so that's why it was in news. Let us understand the background in which it was in news. So Department of Economic Affairs, okay, under Ministry of Finance, introduced the scheme for financial support to public private partnerships in infrastructure viability gap funding scheme in the year of 2016. Okay, so Department of Economic Affairs, which works under Ministry of Finance, they introduced this particular scheme in the year of 2016. Why? With a view to support infrastructure projects undertaken through public-private partnership mode. Public-private partnership means where a government agency, okay, a government agency and a private sector entity, they have come together in a partnership project to actually work on a project to to make that project a livable project. Okay, that to make a project working project. Okay, so projects that are economically justified but commercially unviable due to large capital investment requirements, long gestation period, and the inability to increase user charges to commercial levels. Okay, so these projects will be considered under this viability gap funding scheme of 2006. Then this viability gap funding of up to 40% of the total project cost is provided by the Government of India, means central government, and sponsoring authority in the form of capital grant at the stage of project construction itself. Okay, so 20% will be given by the central government itself and 20% will be given by the sponsoring authority in the form of capital grant at the stage of project construction itself. Okay, when the project is being constructed, then viability gap funding will be provided by the government. Now, if we talk about the recent initiatives, the Government of India has extended the scheme, okay, to social infrastructure also. So under this, we have two sub schemes. One of the sub scheme is known as sub scheme 1. Then we have sub scheme 2 also. So now let us understand about sub scheme 1 under this. What is the objective of sub scheme 1? To cater social sectors. Okay, what are social sectors? Like wastewater treatment plants, water supply, solid waste management, health, education sectors, etc. Okay, so why sub scheme 1 is there? So that we can actually revamp the social sectors. Social sectors means that actually help, okay, in the improvement of the social capital in India. Social capital means increasing the human resources, okay, the capacity of the human resources and increasing the quality of livelihood of people, okay, quality of lives of people. So objective is to cater social sectors such as wastewater treatment, water supply, solid waste management, health, education sectors, etc. These projects face bankability issues and poor revenue streams to cater fully to the capital cost. Now, who are eligible under the sub scheme 1? The projects eligible under this category should have at least 100% operational cost recovery. Means viability, government is providing viability gap funding for the construction of the project. So once the project is constructed fully, so these projects should be able to recover 100% of their operational cost. Okay, so for operating, for running that particular project, whatever cost comes, these projects themselves should be able to recover those costs. This is the only eligibility that is there under sub scheme 1. Then what will be the contribution by the central government or the state government? The central government will provide a maximum of 30% of the total project cost as viability gap funding, and the state government or a sponsoring central ministry statutory entity may provide additional support of up to 30% of the total project cost, and the remaining project cost will come through the private participation. Means 30% will be provided by the central government plus 30% may be provided by the state government or this sponsoring authority, and then remaining 40% will come from the private entities itself, okay, from the private entities itself. So this is a sponsoring authority, okay, this is sponsoring authority, and this is central government over here, okay. Central government will provide 30%, then state government or sponsoring authority will provide the remaining 30%, and 40% will come from the state governments, okay. So this is under sub scheme 1. Now we will understand about sub scheme 2, okay. Under sub scheme 2, what is the objective? To support pilot social sector projects. Pilot means those social sector projects that may be taken up for the first time, okay. These projects may be from health and education sectors, where there is at least 50% operational cost recovery, okay. In the sub scheme 1, what they are envisaging, 100% operational cost recovery, but in this sub scheme 2, they are looking forward for at least 50% operational cost recovery, okay. So once that particular project is built, these projects should be able to recover at least 50% of the operational cost. So during the operation time, during the running of that project, whatever cost comes, they should be able to recover 50% of that, okay. And the how the contribution will come in such projects, the central government and the state governments together will provide up to 80% of the capital expenditure and up to 50% of operational and maintenance cost for the first 5 years, okay. So when that particular project is being built, whatever capital expenditure will come, 80%, up to 80% of that particular capital expenditure will be provided by the central government and the state governments together, okay. And after the project is completed, for operation purposes, the government, okay, will provide up to 50% of the operation and maintenance cost for the first 5 years, okay. Then the central government will provide a maximum of 40% of the total project cost. In addition, it may provide a maximum of 25% of the operational cost of the project in the first 5 years of the commercial operations, okay. So this is the thing. What will be the benefits of this scheme? This scheme will promote public private partnership in social and economic infrastructure, leading to efficient creation of assets and ensuring their proper operation and maintenance, and make the economically or socially essential projects commercially viable, okay. Then what are economic infrastructure, what are social infrastructure? These definitions have been given over here, so it is very important, okay. It is very important for you for prelims as well as for mains, okay. You should remember these definitions. So economic infrastructure refers to the elements of economic change that aid means assist or help, okay. Economic infrastructure refers to the elements of economic change that aid in the process of production and distribution, such as energy, transportation, communication, banking, and financial institutions, okay. So economic infrastructure refers to those infrastructure that brings economic change and helps in the production and distribution of energy, transportation, communication, banking, and financial institutions. When we talk about social infrastructure refers to all those facilities and institutions that enhance the quality of human capital, such as educational institutions, hospitals, nursing homes, housing facilities, etc. Okay, so these are social infrastructure. So they refer to those facilities and institutions that enhance the quality of the human capital. Okay, so what are those institutions and facilities? They are educational institutions, hospitals, nursing homes, housing facilities, etc. So these things are considered under social infrastructure, okay. And apart from this, now revamping of the viability gap funding scheme will attract more public private partnership projects and facilitate private investment in the social sectors, okay. Then it will help in the creation of new hospitals, schools, okay, and many opportunities, okay. It will bring many opportunities to boost employment generation, okay. This particular scheme will encourage private investment in infrastructure on the lines that are suggested by the Kelkar committee, okay. So we may talk about Kelkar committee in detail in our upcoming national daily analysis, okay. Now if you want to learn more on this news item, you can follow this press information bureau reference link, okay. Having understood that topic, now let us move to the next topic, which is India and Maldives relationship. Okay, we will understand that some memorandum of understandings have been signed between government of India and government of Maldives. Okay, so over here in this particular map you can see the location of Maldives. Okay, this is the location of Maldives and capital of Maldives is Malé. So Maldives is one of the neighboring country of India. It is a maritime neighbor for India. Okay, Maldives is a maritime neighbor and Sri Lanka is also a maritime neighbor. So today we are going to talk about India Maldives relation. We will talk about other important things. So you can see this particular location over here. This is one of the island of the Maldives. Okay, so Maldives is an island country, island territory. So it has many such islands. So this is one of such islands. So it is one of the most beautiful countries, okay, that we can ever visit for tourism purposes. So let us see some important things related to this. Okay, so why it was in news? Because recently India and Maldives has signed four memorandum of understandings. Okay, they have signed four memorandum of understanding. So we will understand what are those memorandum of understanding and what is the status of India and Maldives relations. Okay, so four of those two of those four memorandum of understandings pertain to high impact community development projects. Then one of those MUs are is on cooperation in sports and youth affairs. Then there is another memorandum of understanding for 100 million grant to fund the Greater Malay Connectivity Project. Okay, to fund the Greater Malay Connectivity Project. So we have recently seen that Malay is the capital of Maldives. Okay, over here you can see in this particular map, Malay is the capital of Maldives. Okay, so one of the memorandum of understanding is for 100 million US dollar grant from the government of India to the government of Maldives, okay, to fund the Greater Malay Connectivity Project, which is the largest ever such infrastructure project undertaken in the Maldives. Okay, then if we talk about Greater Malay Connectivity Project, it is a financial package by India consisting of a grant of 100 million US dollar and a new line of credit of 400 million. So we have already discussed what do we mean by line of credit. Line of credit simply are the loans that are extended by the government, by one government to another government. So some of the government agencies in India, let's consider Reserve Bank of India, may extend some loan to some other country. Okay, so this is this is under the mechanism that are allowed by the central government. Okay, so that is known as line of credit. What it will do, this will be the largest civilian infrastructure project in Maldives, connecting the Malé, which is the capital, with three neighboring islands. They are Willingly, then we have another one which is known as Gulhi Falhu, okay, where a port is being built under the Indian line of credit, and we have Thila Fusi, okay, which is a new industrial zone by the by the construction of a bridge and causeway link. Okay, so this is the thing. So this particular project will link the capital of Maldives with some neighboring islands in Maldives itself. Okay, it is being government of India is providing grant also. Grant is something where we give money, we do not expect anything in return. Then line of credit is something where we give loans, okay, at a very concessional rate of interest. Okay, so these two things are being supported by the government of India. This will boost economic activity, generate employment, and promote holistic urban development in the Malay region. Okay, so India has various other initiatives also. Like in April 2020, India supplied 6.2 tons of essential medicines to Maldives under Operation Sanjeevani, okay, to tackle the pandemic. So this Operation Sanjeevani, I think like we have discussed earlier in our national daily analysis. If it was not discussed, I may discuss it in our future discussions in detail. Okay, Operation Sanjeevani. Then, so in May 2020, India under Mission Sagar, we have discussed in detail about Mission Sagar. Okay, we have discussed Mission Sagar 2.0 or Mission Sagar version 2 also. Okay, in our previous national daily analysis, you will visit that to understand it in detail. So in May 2020, India under Mission Sagar supplied food items and medical assistance teams to the countries in the southern Indian Ocean, including the Maldives. Okay, so under Mission Sagar, India supplied essential items, essential food items and medical assistant teams to these countries in the southern Indian Ocean, including Maldives. Then Indian government assures that the Maldives will be among the first countries to receive COVID-19 vaccine as soon as one is developed in India. As soon as India develops a COVID-19 vaccine, so India has promised that, so Maldives will be among those first countries to receive those vaccines from India. Now, in August 2020, a bilateral air travel bubble which was established, which connects 5 Indian cities with Malé through 13 weekly flights. So in a week, there will be 13 flights, leading to a steep increase in the number of tourists. Okay, so what is air travel bubble? This is the thing where, during the COVID pandemic itself, so during the COVID time, so the thing is, various states in India, they may have coped up with COVID very efficiently, and similarly there may be some regions in Maldives like who have responded to COVID-19 very efficiently. So like these territories will have mutual air air travel cooperation and all. So we will allow some kind of trade activities during COVID time itself, because they have shown proper and greater response to COVID-19. Okay, so Indian states may have also shown greater response during COVID-19. So that air travel bubble allows some kind of trade activities between these things. Okay, so the thing is, both governments linked a deal of 400 US million line of credit from Export Import Bank of India. Okay, so Export Import Bank of India will actually provide that 400 US million US dollars to Maldives. Okay, that's the thing. What is the significance of this particular thing? Okay, when we talk about significance, both the memorandum of understandings are symbolic of India Maldives strong development partnership, which is multifaceted and designed to meet the specific requirements. Okay, then Maldives enjoys a special and central place in the India's neighborhood first policy. Okay, then India is supportive of the Maldivian foreign minister's candidature for the presidency of the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly. Okay, so India actually supports the candidature of presidency of the 76th session of the UNGA, United Nations General Assembly, where Maldivian foreign minister is contesting as a candidate. So India supports that particular cause. Okay, both nations have consistently supported each other in multilateral fora such as the United Nations, the Commonwealth, the Non-Aligned Movement, and the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. Okay, so the thing is, India's growing concern over China's increasing influence of Indian Ocean region. Okay, so the thing is, China is being more assertive in the Indian Ocean region. China is aggressively pushing their national interest. So that's why India wants to counterbalance that thing by having greater cooperation with its neighborhood countries. Okay, so if you want to learn more on this news item, you can follow this reference link from The Hindu. Okay, this is a very important topic for mains perspective. Okay, so some some initiatives like Operation Sanjeevani, then Operation Rahat, then we have Mission Sagar. These are some of the things that are very important for the prelims exam. Okay, so Operation Rahat is not associated directly with Maldives. Okay, it is not directly connected with this, but like this was a kind of operation by the government of India. So you should be learning those things also in detail. Now let us understand the next topic in detail, which is over the top platforms. Okay, so we will understand why over the top platforms were in news, because recently the government has brought over the top platforms, okay, like Netflix, Amazon Prime and others under the ambit of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Okay, so earlier the over the top platforms were not properly being regulated, so that's why government has brought them under Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. You can see over here, this is like one of the logo of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India. So like why people are looking forward for adoption of the over the top platforms, what kind of services they are providing. Okay, so the thing is, over the top platforms are providing video streaming services among others, and these are very cost efficient, they are very convenient to use by the general public, their features are very efficient. Okay, they have social propensity, means like socially people would like to get the services through the over the top platforms instead of conventional cable TVs and all. Then the content availability is very easy. Okay, so people can get various kind of contents according to their interest. It is very easy to get interesting contents over there. We can access the services of the over the top platforms through smartphones, mobiles. Okay, and internet penetration has also gone very deeper in India. Then user experiences has improved in the over the top platform services. Okay, then it also supports net neutrality concept. Okay, it supports net neutrality concept. So having understood this, let us understand some more information related to this thing. Okay, so the thing is, what are the benefits of having over the top platforms? Okay, they are highly targeted advertising, means like over the top platform brings benefits of programmatic advertising to new mediums, through new mediums. Okay, then they can segment the customers. Okay, customer segmentation happens as analog becomes digital. Like providers can learn from the connect and their customers. Okay, then they have increased efficiency also. Okay, they're able to do debundling, cord cutting, and going OTT allows for more efficient content delivery and pricing. Okay, so these are the benefits of over the top platforms. Okay, so if we talk about applications of over the top platforms, like if we talk about like they may have different applications, like services that were once initiated physically are now executed digitally. Like if we talk about, if you use Uber, like that, so this is also being provided through digital medium. Okay, content and messages, then various kind of devices can be used to get the over the top platform services. We can use like computers, we can use mobile devices and all for availing over the top services. Okay, so the thing is, here over here what happens, earlier the government of India indicated the necessity to monitor these platforms and wanted the platforms to come up with self-regulatory body. Okay, come up with a self-regulatory body. So in January 2009, 8 video streaming services had signed a self-regulatory code that laid down a set of guiding principles for content on these platforms. And these prohibited 5 types of contents. Okay, what are those 5 types of contents? Okay, one of the type of content deals with the national emblem and national flag. How? The content that are deliberate maliciously disrespects the national emblem or national flag will be prohibited under the OTT platforms. Then any visual or storytelling that promotes child pornography will also be, like will also be regulated, will also be prohibited under the OTT platforms. Then any content that maliciously intends to outrage religious sentiments, that will also be prohibited under the over the top platforms. Then content that deliberately and maliciously promotes and encourages terrorism, those contents will also be prohibited. Any content that has been banned for exhibition or distribution by court of law, that will also be prohibited. So the thing is, these 8 video streaming services, they signed a self-regulatory code, and they provided that, like, we will prohibit 5 types of content. Okay, these contents are related to national emblem and national flag, child pornography, okay, outraging the religious sentiments, promoting terrorism, and like those contents that are banned for exhibition or distribution by a court of law in India. Okay, but however the government refused to provide support this code and expressed displeasure at the model suggested by the Internet and Mobile Association of India. and Digital Curated Content Companies Council. Okay, so we will understand what is Internet and Mobile Association of India. We will understand Digital Curated Content Compliance Council. Okay, so Internet and Mobile Association of India is a not-for-profit industry body. It is a not-for-profit industry body registered under the Societies Registration Act of 1860. Okay, its mandate is to expand and enhance the online and mobile value-added services sectors. Then when we talk about Digital Curated Content Complaints Council, so it was launched by the online curated content providers in February 2020 to empower consumers to make informed choices on viewing content over the top platforms, okay, on over the top platforms, and to provide consumers with a complaints redressal mechanism. Okay, so these are two important bodies. This was recently in news. It is a very important topic for mains exam. Okay, now the government held that the model lacked independent third-party monitoring. Okay, the model that was proposed by these 8 video streaming services, where they prohibited five types of content. Government said this model lacked independent third-party monitoring and did not have a well-defined code of ethics and did not clearly enunciate prohibited content. Now, if we talk about the current order of the government, it covers digital or online media, including films and audio visual programs made available by online content providers, and news and current affairs content for online platforms. Okay, so it covers digital and online media like films, okay, news, current affairs, etc., that are being provided in online platforms. Then the online content providers come under the legal framework of the Information Technology Act of 2000. Okay, but unlike print and broadcast media, they were not directly under any ministry. Okay, so when we talk about print and broadcast media, print means, like, if you talk about newspapers and all, this covers print media. Broadcast media means television and all. Okay, so they are broadcast media. So they were earlier regulated under a ministry, but these over the top platforms were not regulated under any ministry. So that's why government has recently brought them under Ministry of Information Broadcasting. Okay, but after bringing under Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, still there are no details on how the government will regulate the online this OTT services or OTT platforms. There is also a possibility that the Program Code of the Cable Television Network Regulation Act 1995 that governs content on TV may serve as a template to frame rules for the online content. Means the government of India may take the help of the Program Code of the Cable Television Network Regulation Act of 1995 to make the regulation for the over the top platforms as well. Okay, what are the reasons behind the order? Because the ministry also keeps receiving complaints from public underlining the concerns of unregulated content and need to regulate it. Okay, this Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, keeps receiving complaint. So this was one of the reason. And apart from this, the Supreme Court, okay, has issued a notice in October 2020 to the Center and the Internet and Mobile Association of India on a petition to regulate the over the top platforms. Okay, so these were the two primary reasons, okay, for bringing the over the top platforms under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. This particular ministry is already regulating news and entertainment content on television and radio through statutory bodies. So it is important to bring the digital content under its purview as well. Okay, so that's why it has been brought. Okay, so this seems a very big topic. With the growth of the digital media and a significant shift of the viewership from the traditional media platforms to digital media, there is a real need for having an appropriate oversight framework for online news and content at par with the traditional media platforms. These are the things, okay? So rules and regulatory bodies for other platforms, okay? When we talk about other platforms, so those rules and regulations are mentioned, okay? For cable television network, okay? So there are regulations which is known as the Cable Television Network Regulation Act of 1995, okay? Then apart from this, there was draft registration of press and periodicals bill, okay, to replace the 115-year-old press regulation of books act 1860, okay. Then we have cable networks regulation act of 2005. When we talk about print media, we have Press Council of India, which is a statutory and quasi-judicial authority to regulate the print media as well, okay. When we talk about television, we have News Broadcasting Standards Authority of India, which is a self-regulating body which is set up by the News Broadcasters Association, okay. They regulate the television news, okay. Then when we talk about films, we have Central Board of Film Certification, which comes under the purview of Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, okay. So various types of contents are already being regulated by the government, okay. What are those contents? Cable TV networks are regulated, okay. Then print media is being regulated, then television news is being regulated, films are also being regulated. So if you talk about advertising, the for advertising standards council of India, which is a self-regulated body, regulates the advertisements in India, okay. So the new initiative by the government will help the government to bring the over the top platforms under, okay, regulatory framework of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. If you want to learn more, you can follow this reference link from The Hindu, okay. Okay, so now we have the last topic for the day, which is data center policy, okay. So we will understand that recently the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology has released draft data center policy, which aims to simplify clearances for setting up data centers in the country, okay. So this draft data center policy was brought by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. So here you can see this is an image of a data center. Then what is the vision of the draft data center policy? The vision is making India a global data center hub to promote investment in this sector, to propel digital economy growth, okay, to enable provisioning of trusted hosting infrastructure to fulfill the growth demand of the country and facilitate state of the art service delivery to citizens, okay. So these are the visions of the draft data center policy of the Ministry of Electronics and Information uh, Technology, okay, MITI. They have defined some important terms. These terms are important for prelims as well as mains exam perspective. What are data centers? Data center is a dedicated secure space within a building or centralized location where computing and networking equipment is concentrated for the purpose of collecting, storing, processing, distributing, or allowing access to large amounts of data, okay. So this is data center. So they have defined what is data center. They have also defined what are data center parks, okay. These are specialized secure data zone strategically located with the most conducive non-IT and IT infrastructure and regulatory environment for housing mix of small scale, large scale clusters of data centers to serve the high needs of compute, storage, networking and provision of a wide range of data related services. These are data center parks. So in your free time, you can pause the video, you can go through these terms or definitions once again to learn them, to remember them. It will help you, okay. Apart from this, what are the provisions under this data center policy? Okay, so I'm just going to be little quick over here. I'm just going to name these provisions. One of the provision is providing infrastructure status to the center sector, okay. They will provide infrastructure status to the data center sector in India. Then they will also demarcate the specific zones with necessary infrastructure such as roads, running water, and electricity to set up data center parks. Okay. Other provision is a single window time-bound clearance system for all approvals required to set up a data center park. Okay. If we talk about other provisions, formulation of data center incentivization scheme. Okay, which will specify the intended beneficiaries, applicability criteria, and fiscal and non-fiscal incentives for the center. And another provision is setting up at least 4 data center economic zones in the country, okay, as a central sector scheme. Okay, so these are the provisions under the data center policy. Okay, so the thing is, here it will help in Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative. Then the data centers will be declared as essential services, okay, under the Essential Services Maintenance Act of 1986, which means that there would be a continuity of services even during the times of calamities or crisis. Okay, then, okay, when we talk about this data center policy, you know, like this policy has been released by MITI, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Okay, so they have had active collaboration with the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship and leading academic institutions to impart large scale training to workforce on data center, digital and cloud technologies, and facilitate sector linkages for such trained workforce. Okay, so these are the things. Then they will also set up an interministerial empowered committee. Okay, they will set up interministerial empowered committee under the chairmanship of the Secretary of Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, with the participation from various central ministries and state governments. Okay, then they will set up an independent data center industry council. Okay, which would act as an interface between the sector and the government. Okay, so what are the needs for our data center policy? The needs have been mentioned over here. Okay, so in your free time, I would expect you to read these things by like pausing this particular video. Okay, so that's all that I had to discuss for the day. You can learn from the slides over here by pausing the video. If you want to learn more, you can follow this reference link from Indian Express. Okay, so that's all from my side. Thank you so much for attending today's session. I hope you have a good day ahead.